Good evening, and welcome to the November 2nd, 2017 Olathe Board of Education meeting. Joe, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Wycliffe?
Here.
Mr. Shear?
Here.
Mr. Beveridge?
Here.
Mr. McCune?
Here.
Mrs. Martin?
Here.
Mrs. Felter?
Here.
Mr. Poland?
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you and good evening. We will start out with American Education Week. And we have Leanne Rogers from Forest View Elementary. Welcome. Glad to have you here this evening.
Thank you for having me. This year, National Education Week will be celebrated the week of November 13th through 17th, and this week presents an opportunity for all Americans to celebrate public education and honor individuals who are making a difference in ensuring that every child receives a quality education. American Education Week has a long-standing tradition of being celebrated since way back in 1919, when the American Legion and the National Education Association were the original sponsors. And at that time, the NEA called for an educational week observed in all communities annually for the purpose of informing the public of the accomplishments and the needs of the public schools and to secure the cooperation and support of the public in meeting those needs. The Olathe Public School District has many opportunities to celebrate, and one of the greatest celebrations that I can think of is the fact that the students in our school district have a vast network of adults who put the kids' education first. You can think of our custodians who work day and night to provide a clean and safe environment for the students to learn in. Our food service employees who prepare breakfasts and lunches so that students have those basic needs of nutrition met so they can be ready to learn in the classroom. Paraprofessionals, teachers' aides, teachers working side by side to meet the individual needs of all the students in our district. And just as you drive around, you can find maintenance crews, visit the schools, you can find the administrators and the secretarial staff supporting those learning environments for the students. In a time when public education is under attack, the celebration of American Education Week is an opportunity for our district to show that public schools have many accomplishments to be celebrated. The Olathe NEA Education Association values the partnership we have with the Olathe School District and the Olathe community as we work to prepare students for their future. And we look forward to celebrating American Education Week later this month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to just say thank you, too, for all of the individuals that are in our buildings each and every day, and all that you do to educate the kids here in Olathe. Thank you for being there every day and doing what you do. It means a lot. Why don't we proceed with our agenda? So we'll jump to action and consent items. Don't know if there's any specific item they'd like to talk about. If not, I would look for a motion to approve those action items.
I'd move to approve consent agenda items numbered 5.01 to 5.17 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Wycliffe and a second by Mr. Beveridge.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
And I would just remind everybody that 5.01 or 5.17, the January board meeting, has been moved to January the 11th, 2018. Actions, bids, and contracts. Several items in there. Any discussion or any more information that board member would like to see or hear?
We do have a presentation for the bond sales.
6.11.
Why don't we ask Mr. Avey, getting your attention back there. Why don't you step up, if you would, and just talk a little bit about the authorization and sale of the general obligation bonds. Hello, Merle.
Oh, good evening, and thanks for having us this evening. You have in front of you a great deal of information regarding a couple of transactions. We're proposing a potential bond sale, new money bond sale, as well as a proposal for a refunding of the district's 2010A series bonds. The new money bond sale is in accordance with the bond referendum that passed back in June of 2016. The proceeds of that would be used to assist the district address capital needs that we may have for the next couple of years. The bond refunding, as mentioned, is for the refunding of the 2010A series bonds, and it's for potential cost savings that could be realized to the district. We're fortunate to have with us this evening a couple of very important guests. We have Dustin Avey. He's the Managing Director at Piper Jaffray. Piper Jaffray is the district's financial advisor. He'll be making a very short presentation here shortly to kind of go over more of the specifics of both the new money bond sale and the bond refunding. Also have with us this evening Gina Reekoff. Gina's a partner at Gilmore & Bell. Gilmore & Bell's our district's bond counsel, and she'll be here to assist with any questions that the board might have in regards to any legal aspects to either of the two transactions that we're proposing. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dustin.
Perfect. Thanks. Merle, good evening. Good to see everybody. And John
Good to have you here.
John Hutchinson said I had less than 30 minutes, so I'll try to keep it to that as best I can.
We have plenty of time. We may ask you to do it again.
It's that riveting. I'm sure you'll want to, believe me. I'm sure you'll want to. So again, obviously appreciate being here. And as we've always started out with, there's interest rate charts. Obviously rates are still very, very favorable. Not as low as where they were about 15 months ago. As you recall, when we did the 2016 A bonds, or number of issues in 16, we really hit the rock bottom in terms of the marketplace. Not as low as where we are then, but historically speaking, still very, very favorable. As Merle alluded to, a number of different series of bonds being authorized or for your consideration this evening. Really the new money portions, the 2017 A bonds, really just a continuation of the entire plan since 2013 related to the new money issuance. This issuance contains about $36 million of additional funding related to the 2016 authority, contains the balance of the authority from the 2013 bonds, which is for elementary school number 36, then also funds an additional 2 years of technology, which will get us technology funding through 2020 and 21. As you may recall, we have kind of a non-technology financing plan and a technology financing plan. Technology financing plans finance for 6 years, so we're paying that off sooner than we would other types of improvements. The other types of improvements are financed for a 20-year term. Average interest rate on a 20-year bonds right now is about 3.25%, so still very favorable historically speaking. The technology components, again, about 1.8%, so still relatively favorable from a rate perspective. There's about $20 million of bond authority from 2016 that will not be included in this issue, and that's for technology purposes. That will be issued and considered at a later date by the school district. From a bond rating perspective, still really no concerns from a bond rating perspective. We expect to get the bond ratings reaffirmed for the school district tomorrow. It's anticipated that we'll be in the marketplace as soon as next week with the first series of bonds, and then come back later in the month with the refunding issue. And again, the refunding issue, as we always look at it, it's really how does this fit into the big picture strategy for the school district? Are we saving dollars? Can we put ourselves in a better financial position? And as we discussed with the Finance Committee, we've really evaluated the 2010A issue, not only from a savings perspective, but can we pay it off a little bit sooner? Those bonds originally mature in 2030. As a result of this refinancing, we're saving dollars by refinancing at lower interest rates. We're also then going to shorten the term, so we're going to pay them off in 2025 versus 2030 as it was originally planned. As a result of doing that, the average rate on refinancing is about 1.9% and saves us a little more than $2.5 million based upon current rates. So with the refinancing, obviously, we've done a number of refinancings in recent years. I thought the board would be interested to know is really since 2013, we're kind of nearing that $26 million mark in terms of total savings by the school district from refinancing. So still preliminary in terms of what this transaction may look like. We have about a month before we can be in the marketplace to lock in rates on the 2017B or the refinancing of the 2010B bonds. but nonetheless, we're looking very good with respect to the overall savings secured by the school district in the last 4 or 5 years. With that, calendar events, as I indicated, action item this evening by the board is just the authorizing process. Try to be in the marketplace as early as next week to lock in the 2017 A bonds, and then come back after Thanksgiving and lock in rates on the refinancing of the 2017 for the 2017 B bonds. And closing before Christmas. So less than 30 minutes. You want to try that again? Mr. Kuhn?
So Dustin, so with what we're doing tonight is great. With the strong anticipation that rates will be coming up, and that's pretty much out in the public that over the next year rates will be coming up. Are we anticipating, what do we have left out there that we can sell, and should we anticipate that? Should we sell them sooner before the rates start moving again?
Yeah, great question. So other than the technology-focused types of projects and improvements, there's nothing else remaining to be issued by the school district for the 2013 and 2016 authority. And so really, and that technology won't be able to be spent until beyond 2021, 22. So from a legal perspective, we really could not issue those bonds now.
Because we can only hold that for 5 or 6 years?
Yeah,
Once you sell
we got to spend so much money in about 2-year period. Yeah. Yeah. So I think from outside of technology, I think we're in great shape with respect to locking in rates on most of the projects that have been authorized by voters in both 13 and 16.
Other questions for Mr. Avey?
I love it when you visit, Dustin, because it's
Yeah.
good news. That savings is significant. So I don't want to just brush over that. That was very strategic work to be able to work that out to save over 25 million. Is that
Yeah.
25.5? So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's obviously more than savings. And as we talked with the finance committee and the board about on previous occasions, it's really saving dollars is one objective, but also maintaining mill levy flexibility, meeting and making sure we meet the mill levy commitment to voters that we've talked about over the number of years through the bond campaigns is obviously a big objective of everybody. So we're saving dollars, but we're also maintaining that flexibility from a mill levy perspective, meeting our commitments and preserving budget flexibility in future years as well.
So what you're saying is you're shortening the terms as well?
We are.
as
We're
saving
shortening
money.
terms, yeah, shortening terms on the bonds, and then still allowing for, obviously, there's going to be more projects at some point in time. I think there's, elementary 37 may be something that's talked about in the next 3 to 5 years. So when we come back from that next project, we still want to be in a position where we're doing those projects without increasing the mill levy and the bond and interest fund.
Great. Thank you.
So another question for you, Dustin. So the bond rating, so again, we're in a good position bond rating today. But with the state of Kansas, and I haven't been following enough, but because of the financial situation that the state of Kansas is in and with everything else that's going on, is there any anticipation that the bond rating may go in the wrong direction for us?
No, I don't think so at this time. I know there's probably more concern about state finance matters about a year ago when we were going through the bond rating process for the 2016 bonds. And really, the district's credit rating did not change at the time. It was put on negative credit watch, not because of the district's financial position, but because of the state's financial condition. There's obviously been some changes in state finance since that time with the increase in income tax this year, or taxes this year. So there's some work being done at the state level to help narrow that gap. But certainly, state finances aren't back to where they probably need to be statewide, but from the standpoint of impacting the district, it won't impact the district on this transaction.
Good.
Good question.
The questions for Mr. Avey? Dustin, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. Good seeing everyone.
Good to see you. And did you have anything that you would like to say?
Gina Rekoff with Gilmore and Bell. Good to see you all. Nobody likes to hear the lawyers talk. I don't have anything like $25 million in savings to add. The only thing that I would ask for your consideration tonight is on the resolutions that were part of the packet, a vote on that, which would authorize staff and all of your professionals to move forward with all the actions necessary so that we can do all those great things that Dustin talked about.
Great.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have from a legal perspective, but again, not as exciting as the savings.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions for staff or discussion? If not, I would look for a motion.
I move to approve action items 6.01 through 6.05.
5.12 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Martin, a second by Mr. Wycliffe. Joy?
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
And moving on to other action items, 7.01 through 7.04. We'll take those each individually. And the first one, Kansas Association of School Board Convention Delegate appointments. We need some nominations or some volunteers.
First, who all, just a question, so who all is planning on attending? That might help us first.
I will be there.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 of us. Okay,
That's good.
great.
I'm the chair of the legislative committee, so I really won't be able to serve.
Okay, thank you.
I don't mind doing it.
That's a volunteer.
There you go.
As long as you vote the way that I want you
That's a
to.
volunteer. Then I would
And
look
then
for
there's a second.
an alternate.
Did you volunteer, Mr. McCune?
I thought I heard him volunteer.
I'd be happy, but are we going to
Well,
be busy, Amy? with
Joe's
that?
on the legislative committee, so if there are questions from the delegates, Joe and I will be the ones up front answering them, so it would make more sense if you're there for you to serve.
I'll volunteer,
Right,
I'll do
okay.
that. Yes. So I need a motion to cease nominations.
I move to cease nominations.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Shear and a second by Ms. Felter.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
And now I need a motion.
I move to appoint Shannon Wycliffe as delegate and Brent McCune as the alternate delegate to represent Olathe Public Schools at the December 3rd, 2017 Kansas Association of School Boards Delegate Assembly.
Second.
So I have a motion by Ms. Felter and a second by Mr. Shear.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Thanks to all of you that volunteered. See you in Wichita. Naming middle school number 10, 7.02. This is pretty exciting stuff. It really is. Any thoughts, questions? I love it.
I think Mr. Allison had a new suggestion for us.
Sadly, my suggestion of Happy Trail Middle School did not garner any votes.
It failed to have any interest. Well, great. I think we had 4 great choices and selections. So thanks to the research that went into that. I did a little research of my own. That's why I voted the way I did. But I thought it was great. Good process. So I'd look for a motion.
I move to name middle school number 10 Summit Trail Middle School.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Martin and a second by Mr. Wycliffe.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
7.03, attendance boundary determination for middle school number 10. I'd just like to make a comment and thank staff, Dr. Dugan, for leading those discussions with our patrons, our communities, in our elementary schools and middle schools. I think there was 8, 9, 10 different meetings. I attended several of them, and great feedback. It was a great presentation. I think the community got all the information that they needed to hear, and it went very, very smoothly. It was good to see the questions that the public was asking. And again, I think you and staff did an amazing job of explaining that. And not a lot of feedback. We got a lot of feedback, not a lot of pushback.
I'd really echo those comments because I think we've gotten to a point now where we take it for granted that our boundary changes are going to run smoothly, and that has not always been the case. So my thanks to Dr. Dugan and everyone that you worked with to get that handled, because it certainly made our job as board members a lot smoother.
I'm just going to echo that too. When I decided to run for school board, one person, longtime citizen of Olathe, said, "You don't want to do that because of rebound boundaries and all that." And we've gone through 2 now, and
Yeah.
seamless process. So thank you very much.
I would look for a motion. 7.03.
I move to approve middle school number 10 boundary concept B as recommended.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Wycliffe and a second by Ms. Felter.
Mr. McCune?
Yes.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Whitcliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
And finally, 7.04, any Head Start questions, comments? None, I'd look for a motion.
I move to approve extended duration carry forward funds as presented.
Second?
Have a motion by Mrs. Martin and a second by Mrs. Felter.
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Whitcliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes. Proceeding to future action items. Anything stick out that anybody would like some additional information prior to next month? Any comments from staff on future action items?
Not at this point in time, unless you have some questions, we'd be happy to answer and respond.
Written information, October Head Start Director's Report, Student Enrollment Report. Moving along, topics for discussion from board members.
I only had 3 trick-or-treaters this year. Did you guys have a lot? Are the kids doing things that aren't trick-or-treating? I figure now's the time to ask. You guys interact with students. Only 3 this year.
It's too cold.
Yeah, I missed them. Now I'm gonna have to eat it all myself.
Did you want to talk about the NSBA?
That would be a good topic. Thank you, Joy. National Association of School Boards, a national conference in December. That is December the 7th, 8th.
That's April.
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 Thank you.
San Antonio.
In San Antonio, Texas. I know that Joy has enrolled.
I've got everybody registered and hotels for everybody, so if you are not planning to go, let me know.
So it looks like the entire board and Mr. Allison will be attending as well. So should be a great conference. It'd be great to have all board members there. They can attend if you can. Great learning experience for all of us.
We should really kind of make a point for the public that we don't conduct any school board business when we're there, but it will be a really good opportunity for all of us to kind of spread out and go our different ways and learn about different topics that could be really beneficial to the district, and then also have some time together in the evenings to do some bonding. Mr. Allison is new to us, and we'll have a new board member. Brian Geary will be with us. Hopefully, he'll
Right.
be able to attend as well. I encourage all of you guys to come. I think it will be. We're a good board, but it'll be a chance for us to become even stronger.
Thanks, Amy. Any other comments, Joy?
We know who runs the board, really.
Yeah, right. You got it. Mr. Allison, superintendent comments.
Yes, just a couple for this evening. We found out that we have a perfect ACT score again this year. Nathan Hempelman, a junior at Olathe East High School. So we will work to bring him to a board meeting in the next month or so. If he's not too busy studying, we'll see if he'll take a study break and come make a visit. We had a very successful fall when it came to state champions. So far, Northwest Gymnastics, the North Boys Cross Country, Northwest Volleyball, and we will bring each of those teams in for recognition at a future board meeting as well. Still waiting on soccer and football. So there may be more to come before we're done. And then again, just to mention that we have a regional finalist for Kansas Teacher of the Year, Angie Powers, and here later this month, the state will be announcing the Kansas Teacher of the Year that's selected from those regionalists. So we wish our best to Angie. I do want to point out that the regional, being a regional finalist, she will be a member of the Kansas Teacher of the Year team, regardless of whether she's selected as Teacher of the Year or not. So Teacher of the Year and the other finalists will spend the next year traveling the state, speaking in different school districts. They will attend each of the region's colleges, speaking to students in the colleges of education. It's a phenomenal experience for her but even more so for our district because she's going to bring back those conversations and what she's learned in her travels across the state next year. So very, very proud of her and wish her the very best. And that
I think
concludes
there's
my
one
report.
more announcement. Isn't there a superintendent of the year also?
I don't believe so.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
We're going to properly take care of that, so yes, we are excited and congratulations to that nice honor. Executive session. We move into executive session? Might as well.
How long?
I know we need at least 25.
Well,
I think we can cut it under 7. Somebody like to make that motion?
Move that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel pursuant to non-elected personnel exceptions under ACOMA, and that the board return to the regular meeting at just 7 or 6:55?
6:55.
6:55 PM in this room.
Second?
Have a motion by Mr. Beveridge and a second by Mrs. Felter.
Mrs. Felter?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
yes.
Mr. Shear?
Yes.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. McCune?
Yes,
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
thank you. Let's go ahead and
All right.
proceed. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm thrilled to present our recognitions tonight. I'd like to welcome all of our distinguished guests. We are going to begin our recognitions with a partner that is very near and dear to our hearts, the Olathe Public Schools Foundation. I'd like to ask Heather Schoonover from Community Development to come forward to assist with this recognition. And would the following come forward to be recognized? Foundation President Mark McGavran, Foundation Board members Darren Odom, Brian Geary, Ken Roberts, and Kathy Meyer. The mission of the Olathe Public Schools Foundation is to provide grants, scholarships, and recognitions for the teachers and students of our district. More than $1.1 million was returned in support for Olathe teachers and students during the 2016-17 school year. The recent autumn breakfast raised $180,000 in sponsorships and ticket sales. At the event, the foundation launched a new Text to Give campaign, which raised more than $10,000 for foundation programs. Specific highlights over the past year included a $25,000 grant to support STEM Connection Girls, Mentoring Girls, $106,000 in classroom grants, $32,000 in College Now scholarships, $18,000 in Student Care Fund grants, $57,000 in support for mental health programs, $622,000 in donor-directed contributions, and $51,000 in teacher wishes granted through Fund a Need. We are incredibly grateful for all of your support of the Olathe Public Schools. Thank you. For our next recognition, I'd like to ask Olathe West Choir Director Laura Van Leeuwen to come forward, along with Principal Jay Novacek and District Fine Arts Coordinator Martha Keeble. Laura was recently named one of 2 Kansas Music Educators Association Secondary Choral Teachers of the Year. Our other honoree was Olathe Northwest Pam Williamson, who couldn't be here tonight, but we'll be recognizing her in the future. Both Laura and Pam will be recognized by KMEA at a special ceremony next month. Congratulations. I know you have family here as well, somewhere in the audience. Yep. For our next recognition, I'd like to ask Washington Elementary Intervention Support Teacher Elisa Gagnon to come forward, along with School Family Liaison Kirsten. Elisa co-authored the Power Card Strategy 2.0, which was recently selected as the winner of the 2018 Teacher's Choice Awards in the category of professional development. The Teacher's Choice Awards are the only awards judged exclusively by teachers in the classroom. She described Power Cards 2.0 as a strategy that encourages the use of special interests to motivate students or teach expected behaviors or social skills which lead to improved relationships and communication. Congratulations. Congratulations. Next, we'd like to honor 2 staff members and 2 students who were recently recognized by the Olathe Human Relations Commission. I'd like to ask Jim McMullen, Executive Director of General Administration and Secondary Programs, and Olathe Northwest Principal Chris Zook to come forward to assist with these recognitions. And would the following honorees please come forward to be recognized? Olathe North Principal Jason Herman with Olathe North student Amanda Yoksh. Olathe Northwest teacher Jennifer O'Gorman and Olathe Northwest student Daytona Hodson. Jason Herman received the Educator Award, which honors an educator who promotes diversity and inclusion throughout the academic system and exemplifies a positive attitude toward improving human relations. Jennifer O'Gorman received the Persons with Disabilities Accessible Community Award, which honors individuals for meritorious service, perseverance, or determination in the pursuit of disability inclusiveness. And Amanda and Daytona received the Youth Community Award, which honors youth who demonstrate a valuable impact on their school, church, or organization that promote good human relations. They established a food allergy awareness week in May, which is pretty incredible. Congratulations to you all. And we'd love for your families to stand to be recognized as well. I know they're in the audience. Congratulations. And Dr. McMullen and Mr. Zook, if you could stay at the front to assist with our next recognition. Our next honoree is Olathe Northwest teacher Bruce Wellman. Bruce, if you could come forward. The National Science Teachers Association and the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics recently selected Bruce as one of 10 math and science teachers from across the country to serve as 2017 STEM Teacher Ambassador. The Ambassador Program aims to empower teacher leaders to develop the necessary skills to effectively communicate the realities of their classrooms to stakeholders. A great accomplishment. Congratulations, Bruce. Next, we'd like to recognize 2 elementary principals for their recent successes. Would Central Elementary Principal Dana Hines and Meadow Lane Principal Brian Lowe please come forward, along with Brent Yeager, Executive Director of General Administration and Elementary Programs. The Kansas Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance selected these 2 elementary principals to receive the Administrator Award. The award recognizes the demonstrated understanding of the importance of both academic success and physical health. Congratulations to you both. Congratulations. Oh, are your families here tonight? We would love for them to stand and be recognized as well. And Dr. Yeager, if you could stay at the front. And I'd also like to ask Assistant Superintendent Jessica Dane to come forward as well. We have a special recognition tonight of our District Math Wings recent first place teams. Olathe Math Wings is an after-school math club that provides the opportunity for students to learn important content and skills beyond what is provided in the classroom. Last month in a district competition, we had 3 teams place first in their categories. And there will be 2 more competitions later this month. So I'm going to call each group up individually, but we'd love for you to stand at the front so we can get a group picture at the end. In the 4th grade competition, we had a first place team from Clearwater Creek Elementary. I'd like to welcome Jason Yan, Megan Freeman, and Hayden Reno, along with Coach Andy Fife and Principal Randy Smith. In the 5th grade category, we had 2 teams that tied for first place. From Regency Place Elementary, we had students Carrie Wong, Erie Ratcliffe, and Lucas Reichman, along with coaches Stacy Anderson and Katie Ald and Principal Greg O'Borney. And from Walnut Grove, we had students Jacob Gilbo, Dylan Gilbo, Kelsey Ganna, Coach Riley Taylor, and Principal Natalie DeWeese. And I know your families are here, are all standing with their cameras. Who want them to stand? Congratulations to all of our first place. For our final honor this evening, we have a very special person to recognize. Our superintendent, John Allison, was recently named the 2018 Kansas Superintendent of the Year. Candidates for superintendent are assessed according to their professionalism, communication, community involvement, and leadership in meeting the needs of students. And he will now be in the running for National Superintendent of the Year, so we're all keeping our fingers crossed. Tonight, we're proud to recognize him for his leadership and for all that he does for the Olathe Public Schools. And Mr. McCune would like to say a few words.
Yes, I would. We couldn't be more pleased that Mr. Allison was named a Superintendent of the Year in the state of Kansas. We're very proud of him and that honor, so thank you for bringing that back to Olathe. You know, he's been with us just a short time, since July, but he has had an impact, and the transition has been quite smooth, so we're glad to see that as well. He has impressed us with his unwavering commitment to student achievement, his professionalism, which I think has been very important, also his leadership skills in the past school district that he has been in, but also the vision that he has for Olathe and how he expresses that. Again, we couldn't be more pleased that you received this. It's a well-deserved honor, and on behalf of the Board of Education, all of us, we want to say thank you, and we appreciate your commitment to Olathe and our vision. And public comments.
At each regular meeting, the Board of Education reserves limited time for individuals wishing to address the board. We request that the individual speakers limit their comments to 5 minutes. The clerk will monitor the time and notify the speaker when the 5-minute time limit has expired. Please direct your comments to the entire board. If a response is appropriate, the president will respond or refer to another individual. In an effort to respect privacy, we ask that speakers refrain from discussing personal complaints involving individual staff members or students. Those speaking are advised that public comments are videotape recorded for broadcast on the district's Educational Access Channel and audio recorded as a matter of public record. Individuals addressing the board should come to the podium at the front of the room and state your name and address.
And tonight we do have one speaker that has signed up. We have Becky Hodson and Dakota Hodson. Please join us.
High school board members, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name's Daytona Hodson, and I'm a sophomore at Olathe Northwest. So before we get into a little bit about what we were talking about tonight, I'd like to give you a little bit about the statistics involving food allergies. And so approximately about 15 million people have food allergies in the United States. And that's almost 1 in 13 children. So if you take that into account at the school, that's almost 2 kids per classroom that do have food allergies. According to the CDC, since 1997 to 2011, food allergies has increased 50%. So it is a growing issue, and not just the Olathe School District, but across the United States. In 2013 and 2014, a survey was taken between schools that participated in stock epinephrine for emergency uses, and over 600 schools used that epinephrine in that case. At schools, almost 25% of reactions happen to a kid that is undiagnosed with food allergies. And so using the use of epinephrine does not just apply to kids that are diagnosed with food allergies. 25% of reactions do occur on an undiagnosed patient. Every 3 minutes, a child does go to the emergency room due to food allergies. And so that is why it's important to be prepared at your school, because a child is at your school for almost 8 hours. So almost every 3 minutes, a child could have a reaction. So being prepared at any time is highly important. And also at schools, bullying is a common issue. But with kids with food allergies, almost 1 in 3 kids are bullied because of their food allergies. And that's a statistic I would like to see drop down. And if we can look into the different ways of managing bullying, especially for kids with food allergies and other chronic illnesses as well, that'd be great. Also, 82% of kids with food allergies are bullied because of their food allergies. And so with those statistics out of the way and the relevance of food allergies in schools, I'd like to pass it over to my mom. Thank you.
Thanks, Dakota.
I'm Mom. My name is Becky Hodson. I am a resident of Olathe, and I'm proud to be back in Olathe after a brief stay outside of the state. School board and Superintendent Allison, dear ladies and gentlemen, I'm writing this letter today to address a concern that is very near and dear to me. I'm the parent of a wonderful 15-year-old student at Olathe Northwest. He's a good student, he's a caring friend, and a happy young man by all accounts. He also happens to have a very serious medical condition that is recognized as a disability. When you look at him, he doesn't appear much different than many of his peers. That's because his disability is hidden or invisible. He's one of approximately 6 million kids with a potentially life-threatening allergy. In a recent study, more than 12,000 school nurses completed an electronic survey, and they noted that they'd used epinephrine in schools. Nearly a quarter of the participants reported epinephrine being administered in their school. There's an allergy epidemic in our country and here in Olathe. In an effort to move forward for ourselves and the more than 3,000 estimated kids in your school district, we implore you to please address the need for a comprehensive plan for protecting these children with food allergies and an effective response to food allergy emergencies in the Olathe schools. Although the Olathe district nurse, suggests training at each school for epinephrine auto-injectors, we found that this isn't always being done. And the training provided might be how to administer after a problem has occurred. It's not in accord with the CDC guidelines. In response to the emerging epidemic, the CDC in 2013 published guidelines for managing food allergies designed to help schools avoid, recognize, and treat allergic reactions while ensuring that students with food allergies are safely included in schools. The U.S. Government Food Allergy and Anaphylaxis Management Act, also known as FAMA, passed as part of a food safety bill in 2010 and was signed into law by President Obama in January of 2011. FAIR, an organization that we're members of, led the effort to encourage Congress to enact that act, which called for the voluntary national guidelines that I referenced before, and to help schools manage students affected by food allergies and anaphylaxis. The bill required the U.S. Department of
Ms.
Health and
Hodson,
Services.
it's been 5, do you have just a few
I'm
moments?
sorry?
It's been 5 minutes, do you have just a few more?
I sure can get to the bottom of it. Our family's been working to develop a plan for appropriate accommodations with the staff at Olathe Northwest. The absence of official district plans, protocols, and procedures for food allergy management has been frustrating for all parties involved. There is inconsistency with the way food allergies are managed from school to school, and this can cause confusion. Most importantly, we feel that this has resulted in episodes in which our son was isolated and not provided the proper access. While this may have been unintentional, we feel it should be the goal of the district not to isolate the child, but to isolate the allergen and not the student. As a parent and a student in the school district, I'm willing to do my part to help. Our son, along with another student, provided informational training to the staff of Olathe North before the beginning of the school year. A plan is an achievable goal. I'm happy to share with you examples, but now it's time for the Olathe Public Schools to do your part in protecting your students with food allergies. Thank you.
Thank you very much for addressing the board. Thank you, Dakota and Becky. Appreciate you being here. Seeing no other speakers and no other business to conduct, we are adjourned.